that one of us had a proper first-hand experience with. So, for example, dyslexia or something like that. So we decided to do sleep paralysis instead, as we thought it would be fun to research. Our performance style is going to be a mix of live acting and pre-recorded scenes.
And mostly some movement for Emily.
Yeah, Emily will be doing a lot of physical movement in theatre.
Basically, what we did with tech requirements, we need lighting, we need the sounds, we need a lot of tech because we do have some nightmare scenes. The first nightmare scene is basically holding basically its fingers on a tree. This person holding by fingers on a tree, so you can only see basically the fingers holding on, and then 2 fingers will come off, and then a bunch of clips and gifs of like scary stuff to keep them out, and then back to the hands, 2 more fingers will come off, a bunch of scary things, the hand will come off, then clips, 2 more fingers, a bunch of clips and gifs, 2 more fingers, a bunch of clips and gifs, and then as soon as that last hand comes off, he awakes, and basically the medication will struggle to push Emily off me, and then eventually she'll work, and then I'll wake up. And then night 2 will mean I'll be running basically through a tunnel, so you only see my feet, and it's going to be a camera only showing my feet, and then it shows the figure behind me chasing me, which is Travis, in like all black clothes. And then basically Emily comes out on the other end of the tunnel, like, surprise you can't escape, but she won't say that. Night 3 is we're in a forest, where a box will be in the distance, so you just see the woods, a camera filming of the woods, and you see the box in the distance, and then it'll cut, and it'll be a bit closer, and then it'll cut, and it'll be like really close, and then as soon as it's really close, pop goes the weasel will just come on, and then Emily will jump out and say, pop goes the weasel.
We'll choose appropriate music to effectively add to the creepy atmosphere, obviously. We're not just going to choose an old version.
Yep. So, night 1, I'm choosing a bit of like music of falling, where it gets more like, it's more like intense, so it's more. Night 2 will be a bit mystery, because you don't know you lost. It looks like you lost, you get trapped. Night 3 will be a little bit of just that popular musical song. That's all.
Our staging requirements are actually really flexible because our props are mainly going to consist of a bed and possibly a few other props that would be found in the bedroom that Travis will be moving around while Emily will be sat on Cooper reading a story that we have gotten from someone who suffers from sleep paralysis.
What will be moving around, sorry?
The props. Travis will be moving those around. So because our staging requirements are really flexible, it would be preferable to have it on stage, but if we needed to, we would easily be able to have the audience surrounding us in a circle, for example. We've got a fair bit of research and preparation already.
Yes, I've done some research into a couple of stuff. We've done some research into some of the things. I've mostly done research into movement for Emily. That's a nightmare. But this is the research what I did when I come across a documentary about sleep paralysis, and
laying down to go to sleep, I would feel utterly exhausted, almost as if I had just been drugged. And my eyes sealed shut, my mouth sealed shut, and it's as if everything was shutting down except for my awareness, my consciousness.
I had zero control over my body. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't move my arms, my legs.
I would try to fight it. It was just so strong.
And then you wake up and you're totally paralyzed, you can't move.
began hearing voices and screams and crying. I would hear all the sounds of hell. And that is when the shadow man would come and he would walk disjointed. It's kind of horror that is worse than like in movies.
So I found that, come across it, and it's a documentary about it, and it's a documentary about all the experiences of what people have had since, such as the Shadow Man. This is the second one I did, and it's basically the Move Me Mama, but it's the screen test behind it, or the motion capture, and it's very disturbing. And also, I just thought of it as a movement thing to Emily to try and get some of these movements, because he does have like a bone disease what makes his bones move more like weird, like he can put his arm like just around awkward places, and it looks really weird. Just
As well as this, I've also done a lot of research on the more medical side of things. So, for example, what can cause it, how it's typically treated, other treatments that can be used. For example, I've looked into the medication that can be used to try and help alleviate sleep paralysis. Antidepressants are prescribed most of the time. I've also looked into what exactly would need to happen for a doctor to think it would be a good idea to do an overnight sleep study to monitor the victim of sleep paralysis.
I've actually done some history kind of research. The historical context were back in the, I think it was 1931. Back in there, a doctor described a woman of having, he actually, what's it called? The doctor says that diagnosed with nightmares because she constantly kept having sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis can be, it can ongoing. Some people are deep sufferers where every night they are afraid because it keeps on coming. Some people are like where they might have it twice the life, once the life. It can be little, as you see in small figures in the corner. It could be then wake up, or it could be massive where you see a full-blown figure. The main people what everyone's talked about are mostly the shadow man, where you see a male of a shadow figure. He's basically standing inside the bed or doing something. Or the main other one is the old hag, where the sense a dark presence in the room, and then basically this old woman will come across and sit on the chest and then start heckling or laughing, and then they wake up because they can't breathe. You can't really wake up from sleep paralysis I know people say sometimes they say moving your toes, but that does not work. You have to kind of just wait it out.
Travis, do you want to talk about the costumes?
So yeah, we've picked like costumes for each character. We've picked all white for the medication because medication's usually all white. Josh is going to wear normal clothes because he's just a normal person who's living his life. PJs or whatever. Emily's wearing all black with a red wig because she's a demon, and I'm going to be wearing all black so you can't see me on stage, which you probably will be able to.
Rebecca will be wearing all white, like medication.
He's just said that.
Has he already said that?
He's already said that.
Yes. That's it.
Yep. Thank you very much. General comments from people.
All says.
General comments for people without sheets. Ryan.
Yeah, 16 probably.
I wouldn't imagine it's
15
that.
or
I'd say
It's
probably
pretty
about.
high for the images.
Oh yeah, it will depend on the images and gifts that Cooper manages to find.
Yep. Megan.
You were going on about nightmares, but are you videoing in them or are you doing them live or?
We're going to be pre-recording the nightmares and showing them on a projector, on the stage.
Alright, that's something to consider then because you said you might have them sitting around you, but then you need to make sure they all can see the projections then clearly.
Any other general comments, Anushka?
Is it going to be a performance or is it going to be like a documentary?
It's going to be a performance.
Performance.
Right, people with feedback sheets. Chloe Shipman.
I liked the idea of it all, and I liked the fact that you said you want to do it because like you're interested in it all. I liked how you included how you do live acting, like pre-recorded scenes as well, and how Emily's going to be using physical theatre. You explained that really well. You explained your props well as well, like how the bed's going to be used, but why will you be using these props? Like, why would other props be around on the stage?
The other props will be around because as Emily is reading the story that she is being given, one of the symptoms of sleep paralysis is that people sometimes hallucinate and see objects moving around. Obviously, we can't actually do this because we don't have those kind of powers, so that's why we're going to have Travis there to move them around to try and help create that illusion of things moving on their own.
Yeah. What type of lights will you be using?
We want the set to be mainly dark with red spotlights to kind of enhance the disturbing atmosphere.
That's why we want Travis to be completely black, because then like we can't see him moving around the room. Some people will spot like the figure walking around the room, and like Emily will be spotlight on the bed with Emily reading the story out, loud, and then Travis will just basically, because dark, you'll be able to see stuff moving around, so it kind of plays with the audience thinking there, like, wait a minute, that was just over there, but now it's over there. Some people don't spot it, some people.
Yeah. I liked like you've done a lot of research on the idea, like Rebecca, even done the medication side of it all, and I liked how you showed the video because when you talk about Emily movement, that explained it more, like what type of movements you wanted her to do. The scenes that you're doing well explained as well, and I like the idea of how people are going about with the fingers on the branch. The one thing with that, I would say, obviously Travis is being a bit more, but obviously I get how he went in the other day and everything. Just last bit, what practitioners will you be using if you thought about it?
We've decided that we're going to use Breck because he's got a very unnaturalistic style, and we think that will work well with the kind of surreal atmosphere that we're trying to aim for. So we feel like Stanislavski would kind of kill the atmosphere a little bit, but Breck would enhance it.
It was very professional.
Thanks. Mia?
I liked how you did like quite a clear breakdown of what themes you're wanting to include. But you said that you don't want to be using like you did this because no one's got first-hand experience. Is there a reason why you didn't want that? It's mainly because obviously one person would have a lot more knowledge about it than the rest of the people, which is a bit of an unfair advantage. But also in that it does make the written work a little bit harder because you can't exactly source your other group members. And then you said that you're going to be filming it and stuff, which I think will work out well if you can get it all filmed and edited and as you're picturing it in time. And I know like on stage you'll be doing the sort of like little scenes and stuff, but will you be doing any like acting like when you're, like I know you're going to try and push Emily off and stuff, Are you going to go into any like information about the medication and stuff, like saying what it is, like how it helps and that? We might consider using placards. We might consider using placards to give that kind of information out. Maybe at the beginning of the piece, a voiceover of someone saying to Josh, "Don't forget to take this medication." But we'll need to think that through. And then also about the filming. Is it going to be between the four of you filming different scenes for each other? Or are you going to try and like get someone else to come in and try and help you do it?
Travis did say he had a camera, so I feel like Travis will film most of them, and then Rebecca will film the tunnel one, because Travis is the one who's basically chasing me down the tunnel. So Travis will be filming most of them the second one.
Thank you, Michael.
What is your budget like? Have you thought about your budget at all?
We haven't thought about a budget due to the fact that due to the fact that we don't feel we'll need to buy very many things. For example, white clothing is particularly easy to get, as are pajamas, and we already all wear all black for college, so Emily will be taking care of the wig, or she might be dyeing her hair. I think we already have a bed.
We do have our own bed.
We already have a bed. And obviously the props for things around the bedroom we can easily get from our own rooms, so we don't necessarily think we're going to be having to spend too much on things exclusively just for this performance.
Is the performance meant to be informative to the audience, so the audience knows more about?
It's meant to be a little bit informative, but also it's kind of wearying.
It's informative in the sense of helping people who have never suffered from sleep paralysis to understand what it is like to have sleep paralysis and suffer from it, and also for those who do have sleep paralysis, if they haven't figured out a way to try and stop it yet, to give them an idea on what they can do to help stop them from having sleep paralysis. But it mainly is just to give people who haven't suffered from it an experience of what it is like.
Where would you be filming as well?
We've got mostly two of the scenes, which is the one with the Jack in the Box and the one hanging from the branch in the woods over there.
And Emily knows a tunnel that we'll be able
a
to
tunnel
use.
which we can use at night, so most of it.
Josh?
Just a question. Right, okay, you said that Travis was going to move some props, including the bed.
No, the bed is not
Right, okay,
going
so what sort of props is it going to move without being seen? Because he's not going to be
Small
seen.
props, but not too small. They won't see, like a clock, maybe a little alarm clock, like around the table, or maybe like
a small lamp.
a small.
How is he going to do that being seen?
He's got.
If he is, well, we're hoping the fact that even if the audience do see him, due to the fact that he'll be wearing all black, it will help to create the illusion of what Cooper mentioned earlier of the silhouette of the man, which is a thing that people often see. So we're hoping that it will work in our favour either way, so we have time for that.
So Josh, Megan?
Are you going to ask for permission to film on college grounds? Because for those who are going to have to ask us, we were told we should ask the college whether we were allowed before we actually did it. Are you going to thought about asking?
Yeah, we're going to do that, yeah. If we can't get permission from the college, I'm sure we'll be able to find somewhere else where we'll be able to film. We'll be able to find different locations if we can't film at college.
Thank you very much.